Good Friday morning, everyone. I'm out here in my shop or behind my shop about to mow. Got a bunch of mowing to do today. I mow, I live on 5 acres, so I got 5 acres to mow, and been keeping my neighbor's 5 acres mowed, and my son's mowing another neighbor's. So we're really mowing about 15 acres right now. So lots of mowing to do. Hope you're having a great Friday. And I just thought I'd share this before I got out here and got nasty and hot and dirty this morning. Been thinking a lot about this the last couple days. One of the questions I had regarding listening to God, a couple days ago I gave hopefully some really practical tools for ways to begin to practice and learn how to hear God's voice. You hear my ducks over there? They decided to chime in this morning, so hopefully you can hear me over them. What's up, Kyle? How you doing, man? So so a couple days ago, I gave you hopefully some really practical tools on how to listen to God or how to hear God's voice. And then I've gotten quite a few questions about people who are struggling with hearing God's voice, and they're kind of wanting to know why. What's causing that struggle, or are there barriers to hearing God's voice, as one of my friends asked. So been thinking a lot about that. I even wrote some things down. Was going to do this a couple mornings ago and just didn't feel like I was ready to talk about it. I needed to seek God's wisdom on a little bit more, and also talk to some friends, and called my buddy Jamie Winship out in Portland and talked to him about it a little bit. And so praying about it this morning, felt like it was just time to share. So what do you think of the cowboy hat? I'm kind of a hypocrite. I'm not much of a cowboy. This is just to keep the sun off my face. This is a Walmart cheapy hat. So, hey, Tom. So after talking to Jamie and praying about it some more, felt like today was the day to share. So here's what I wanted to share today, and I'm going to try to keep this short. I think the number one barrier to hearing God's voice is unforgiveness. And man, we could talk about unforgiveness, another topic we could talk about for days. Unforgiveness is really, really damaging. I think a lot of people misunderstand unforgiveness. They feel like if they forgive someone who has hurt them or damaged them or done something to them, then they're letting that person off the hook. But really, if we understand the Bible, it's not up to us to decide who gets punished and who doesn't, or who has to pay and who doesn't. In fact, if that were the case, we'd all be on our way to hell. But Jesus decided to pay that price for us and forgive us for all of our shortcomings, for all of our sin. And so what the Bible commands is for us to take that forgiveness that we've received, and it would be foolish and hypocritical and pretty stupid of us to receive that forgiveness, but not share that with somebody else. And so forgiveness is a really big deal. And when we forgive, more than anything, we're releasing ourselves. Usually forgiveness has something to do with where something happened to us, and ultimately, if we boil it down, we feel like something has been taken from us. Something that belonged to us has been taken from us. Sometimes that's, actually something physical, money or, whatever. Other times it's my reputation, a job, a position, all kinds of things. So we feel like something's been taken from us. And forgiveness is basically just saying, yeah, something was taken from me. Whether that was your intention or not, something was taken from me, and that hurt or that angered me or that damaged me in a big way. And when you forgive, what you're basically saying is, you don't owe me. Even though something was taken, and I could say that you owe me and hold on to that for the rest of my life, I'm saying you just don't owe me. And I was just sitting here thinking, like, even for some of you, that may be something that happened to you as a kid. Could be some form of abuse. And yes, of course, something was taken from you, and not by any fault of yours. And you have a choice. You could walk around holding on to bitterness, and bitterness will destroy you. Or at some point, you can say, God's got this. God will take care of that person. But you don't owe me. I'm forgiving you. And that releases you. You're causing yourself to live in bondage. You're allowing bitterness to grow in your life. And in fact, I think that we give Satan a foothold or even a stronghold in our life. And that binds us up from really enjoying a full, loving, intimate, walking and talking relationship with Jesus. And so I think the number one barrier to hearing God is unforgiveness. And so if you're having a hard time hearing God, what I would recommend doing is asking God, is there something that's happened in my life? Is there someone, when I think about them to this day, I still get that angry feeling or hurt feeling, or man, I get some kind of negative emotion when I think about a person or a situation. And if so, then that may be a sign of unforgiveness. And you just need to talk to God about that. Is this something I'm holding on to? Is this something I haven't forgiven and I need to? And just start by forgiving that person, saying, they don't owe me. Sometimes you can go talk to the person, sometimes you can't. But you just say, you don't owe me, I forgive them. And ask God to give you a forgiving spirit. But the problem is, you're not going to hear God if you're not willing to give forgiveness to somebody else or even receive forgiveness from Him. Sometimes we're walking around holding on to this fear, guilt, and shame. Guilt and shame, especially in this case, and we've never really received His forgiveness. We don't really believe that when Jesus died on the cross, He said, "It is finished." And we don't really believe it's finished. And so we still think we have to owe something or pay something or prove to God that we're worthy of His love. So sometimes we haven't even received forgiveness. But unforgiveness is a huge barrier. And the idea is you cannot walk in intimacy with God if you're not forgiving others in the way that you've been forgiven. We have to remember we've been forgiven a tremendous debt. And when we don't pass that on or give that same kind of forgiveness to someone else, we're not walking, we're not allowing ourselves to walk in an intimate, meaningful, loving relationship with God. And so forgiveness frees us from that bondage. It frees us from that barrier. And if that's something that's in your life, then getting rid of that allows you then to kind of unclog the communication pathway between you and God. So I hope that makes a little bit of sense. Unforgiveness, man, if you're dealing with that, ask God to show you that. God, search me and know me and show me any way that's not right in me. Show me any unforgiveness that I'm holding on to, because that's a path to pain, and put me on a path that leads me back to you. And ask God to just reveal any of that that's in your life. Ask Him to help you root it out. And get rid of it and walk into forgiveness. And then I believe at that point you can begin to hear God. Good morning, Leanne. Hey, Shauna. Good to see both of you. So anyhow, that's one barrier. I hope that helps. I hope that helps many of you that may be dealing with unforgiveness. Sometimes we have unforgiveness in our life that we've been hanging on to and we don't even realize it. So Leanne, I said hi. You're kind of high maintenance. You know that? I'm kidding. I love you. Damon, good to see you. So deal with unforgiveness. I'm going to come back and we may talk 2 or 3 more days on other barriers, but I wanted to deal with that one first because that's a huge one. That's one that so many people deal with. It's one that I dealt with for a while. May tell that story at some point, and just want to encourage you to root that out and do it with God's help. Have a great Friday. I'm going to go mow. Talk to you later.